There's a far longer track record of the Chiefs laying huge numbers and not covering them with Mahomes than anything on the contrary.
And they did that a lot last year where they didn't cover those numbers, but a lot of the time last year they didn't have Rice and they weren't fully healthy, and now they are fully healthy. And now we have an offense that has 4 viable receivers, 2 tight ends, and 2 running backs.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They didn't panic. They played like a championship team. They came back and destroyed them, probably cost Brian Kelly his job at least a week earlier than it might have happened before. But the fact is they are playing great. But like I say, I like the talent level of all those teams. And I think if you want to have a little bang for your buck and play around with a team that could slide in, Ole Miss might be that team.
The Bowden Blitz. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in a football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on
It's time to rise and grind right here on the Early Line, the SportsGrid Network, the place to be. And my goodness, do we have a Monday show right here. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. Did you see what happened this weekend? Did you watch college football and enjoy it? Absolutely did. Did you watch the NFL in Week 9 and say, boy, I think we can make some money? Superstars shining and some teams faltering down the stretch. But did you also see Saturday night, Major League Baseball, Game 7 of the World Series? A lot of times, Joe, it's anticlimactic. Oh, look at that. 9-1 victory, 6-0 by the third inning, and you just wait for the game to get over to see the coronation of the new champions. You had everything in that game. Massive home runs, big comebacks, top of the 9th inning ties, home runs in extra innings to lift your team, and also a game-ending double play and so many close plays, Joe. This 2 hours is going to be action-packed. The people, they better buckle up.
Yeah, I mean, we had a whole lot of outright underdog upsets yesterday in the NFL. The public is crying, but you're right, Donnie. The star of the weekend was absolutely the World Series. And didn't we establish already how baseball is not boring? And I think that was the exclamation point on that one.
I was so excited for Game 7 Saturday night because I knew I could stay up. You had daylight savings, which we're benefiting right now. What a time to be here. Baseball ain't going anywhere. And a big week right here on the Early Line. Time to get caffeinated.
Yeah, Donnie, you're right. Wow, just wow. We just witnessed what might go down as one of the greatest, most dramatic World Series that we have ever seen. Talk about an all-time classic. The Dodgers go back-to-back. The first team to do it, Donnie, in 25 years. And crazy enough, got a lot of friends up in Toronto that I know. And the very first thing that I saw Sunday morning was the fact that, well, the Dodgers are ruining baseball. They just bought another championship. Their $400 million payroll's a joke, yada, yada, yada. And the list goes on. You got to give me a break with this. It is the laziest, most tired, most ignorant argument in all of sports, and I'm sick of hearing about it, Donnie. You think money guarantees you a ring in baseball? Let's look at the facts, folks. If money bought championships, we wouldn't have just had the longest gap between repeat winners in the history of sports. The team with the highest payroll has won the World Series, you ready for this, Donnie? Exactly 3 times in 24 years. Heck, in 2023, the 2 biggest spenders, the Mets and the Yankees, they didn't even make the playoffs. This whole idea that money buys rings narrative, it's a myth. It's an excuse for fans of cheap franchises and cheap owners just to whine. Did anybody really watch this series? I hope you did, because the Toronto Blue Jays, who did not spend $400 million, were 2 outs away from winning their first championship since 1993. This series was razor thin. The Jays had every single chance to win the game and the series, and they didn't. They didn't deliver. And you know who did deliver for the Dodgers in the biggest moments of Game 6 and Game 7? Was it the superstars? Was it Ohtani? Was it Freeman? Was it Betts? No. It was guys like Kiki Hernandez, Miguel Rojas, and Will Smith who came up with the biggest championship-defining plays. That's what it's all about. Here's the lesson. I want everyone to understand this. You can't buy heart. You can't buy clutch. Money may get you to the dance, Donnie, but it does not guarantee you will win anything. At the end of the day, the players on the field have to make the plays when the lights are the brightest, no matter how much money they make, because that is completely irrelevant. The Blue Jays didn't make the plays. The Dodger role players did. So stop crying about payrolls and demanding your own owners actually may spend a little money to actually build a winner. How about you do that? The Dodgers aren't ruining baseball. That's just baseball, Donnie.
Baseball was fantastic. I mean, what a way to send it out. A game number 7, and an impressive one at that. Unbelievable heartache for the Toronto Blue Jays fans. But understand this. Baseball starts in spring training in February. They go from February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and November. Before you can blink, pitchers and catchers will be back once again with a great Major League Baseball season here. Let's get to the early lineup, which included a lot of the hottest topics, which yesterday, the game of the day was the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs showed up in Orchard Park as a slight favorite. The Chiefs left 5-4 now on the season. Buffalo handles their business 28-21. Josh Allen, 23 of 26 from the pocket, 273, 1 touchdown pass, and also added 2 more touchdowns on the ground. James Cook was sensational with 114 yards on the ground. Buffalo owns the Chiefs in the regular season, just not in the playoffs.
Yeah, same old, same old. And again, great. You won in the regular season, Buffalo. None of that is going to matter come January. So kudos. I love the way they approached it, Donnie. They did exactly what we thought they would do with run the ball right down their throat and try and stop us, and they couldn't stop them. But the defensive effort from Buffalo, I think, was the most impressive in that game.
And by the way, how about this next statistic? 68-yard field goal, and it's good. And it happened in Vegas yesterday, and it was Cam Little of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's amazing when you say, we're going to give you your own kicking ball. You can doctor it however you want during the week and come out here and kick it. It used to be like, wow, man, dude just smoked a 51-yarder. That's a layup now. We're hitting 68-yard field goals that would have been good from 70-plus, Joe. The evolution of the kicker, man, coming up.
No. The evolution of this kicker, Cam Little, is ridiculous, Donnie. We watched him kick a 70-yarder in preseason, and we're scratching our heads and going, wow, I wonder if he's ever going to have a chance to do it. We were covering that live on In-Game Live yesterday, and I could not believe what I was watching, because I just watched the kick get blocked from Detroit in Minnesota in that game, Donnie, that was from like 40 yards. And I'm going, how did nobody even block this kick from that far out? Unbelievable leg. I mean, kudos. He might break his own record, though, Donnie, before the year is over.
Yeah, you wait. Put one of these guys in Denver here. They'll smoke a 75-yard at that point. Be kicking off. I'm like, wait, what just happened right here? As soon as you get the kickoff, you're already in field goal range. It's happening right now with some of these kickers. C.J. Stroud. Head bounced off the turf, and he's going in for a concussion protocol here and ruled out of that game. Joe, I tweeted out immediately, and I do every single time I watch. You should not be allowed to slide and give yourself up. You are better off taking a full collision where you're prepared for it instead of getting your head bounced off the turf. You can't regulate it. Defensive backs, you can't fault them for running 4.40s against a quarterback. You're trying to stop who slides down at the last minute, and you make contact. Outlaw the slide in football. It's crushing quarterbacks, and there's no need for it.
Or learn how to slide and protect yourself. Just saying. I mean, come on. Like, give me a break here. This is C.J. Stroud. And by the way, it's not the reason they lost. So I hope Texans fans aren't using that as an excuse here. But no, it's, listen, we've seen quarterbacks who can't figure out how to slide and their careers don't go all that well. Right, RG3? Remember that?
Just get down, man. Just take the blunt of the hit, knock it off here. And by the way, we did just talk about the Dodgers. Back-to-back World Series championships here. They'll have their parade going for 3-0, and they're going to be the heavy favorite to win 3 in a row, Joe.
As well they should, Donnie, until you're champion, until somebody knocks you down, right? Isn't that how it works? So they will, although a little older next year, which will be interesting to see, but they will absolutely be favorites and deservedly so.
Hugh Freeze fired by Auburn. No surprise. You can't go to the SEC and go 15-19. He's out the door. Seems like everybody's out the door in college football for Auburn.
Listen, there has been no better time to be a college coach with a winning record than right now, Donnie. The jobs that are available are over the top good.
Little Patrick Mahomes also suffered a loss and also a season-ending loss with a broken leg there, suffered against USC. Dylan Raiola out for the season.
Yeah, and just in time for his coach, Matt Rule, to get a monster extension, too, huh? Shocker.
Yeah, looking good at 6-3 in Nebraska. Good going to a bowl game, guys. That's as good as it gets. How about this? SGA. I guess it's an epidemic, I should say, where superstars are on the road and getting robbed at home. Get some security for once.
My big question, too, Donnie. Great question.
Get some security. By the way, we're going to hit some spread lines next. You don't want to miss out on what an action-packed show right here on the early line.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. Yep. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. Mm-hmm. They're not. It's what like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state, you're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Get ready for your morning spread lines here on a Monday right here on the Early Line on the SportsGrid Network. It's Donnie Rightside and it's Joe Ranieri, and the biggest games that we like to talk about, and also some information coming up on games you need to know about and where some of these lines are moving. We start with Monday Night Football, the end to Week 9 in the NFL regular season. Arizona's going to take on Dallas, but we might have thought we were getting a quarterback change or a quarterback, let's just say, getting healthy. We're not going to get that. Kyler Murray not starting tonight. Jacoby Brissett will. Then they sent out some cryptic message like there might be a package or two for, each quarterback, which has no idea what they're actually talking about here. So we're going to go Brissett versus Prescott. And a line, Joe, that sat at 3 all week, and it still sits at 3. Some outlets at 3.5 as a favorite towards the Cowboys. People love points in this game. It sits at 53.5. Jacoby Brissett, last 2 games, Joe, 2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown passes. Hey, Kyler, stay over on the sideline here, huh? What's the spread line tonight for you?
Well, this is the ultimate pros versus Joes, right, Donnie? Because you said it. There can't be any more tickets and percentage of money on America's team than there is right now. I mean, we're talking greater than 80% across the board. Everybody in the public running up and backing the Dallas Cowboys here tonight. But you nailed it, Donnie. Why is this line still 3? It's been 3 all week. It's not moving. So there is clearly pro versus Joe money in this matchup here tonight. If you trust Dallas, who's been with Dak Prescott very good against sub 500 teams, he just can't beat the teams that are actually above 500. But below 500, he has been money on. But the total, I don't know that I could sweat out an under tonight, Donnie. It may not be high enough in this game.
Let's look to Week 10 coming up this weekend. A 1 o'clock start. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers banged up but fresh off a bye going against maybe the hottest team in the NFL. It's the New England Patriots, who right now sit atop the AFC East, even over the Buffalo Bills. This line opened up as a 1.5-point favorite towards Tampa. Now we're actually seeing 2.5s as a favorite towards Tampa. Red hot New England goes on the road to take on Tampa Bay after the bye. What's the spread line on this game for you, Joe?
Starting to see the total creep up a little bit, too, to 48 and a half. The storyline, of course, is going to be Tampa coming out of the bye. How healthy are they? Who do they have back? Who don't they have back? This is a huge test for the Patriots, who sit atop, of course, the AFC East right now, going on the road. I mean, that was a close one yesterday, but that was at home. So this is a huge test. And right off the bat, Donnie, the early money suggests maybe we're not buying what the Patriots are selling just yet, maybe a little too early in the game. But I think this line will climb as we get a better idea as who is healthy for the Tampa Bay Bucs heading into this game on the weekend.
Yeah, close game yesterday. They survived, advanced, and won, and they'll take on Tampa Bay this weekend down in Tampa on Sunday afternoon. Action tonight. November the 3rd, Monday night, the Battle of Texas here. Dallas Mavericks taking on the Houston Rockets. This line opened up at 12.5, Joe. We still sit at 12.5 tonight. A total of 229.5, actually being bet down around to 225.5 as we sit right now. Dallas and Houston tonight. What's the spread line tonight we can look out for?
Well, I mean, Houston has finally figured it out offensively. I mean, they absolutely destroyed the Celtics, 128-101 on Saturday. So that's 3 straight now for Houston. Meanwhile, Dallas is dealing with all sorts of injuries. They have no big men. Derek Lively wasn't available. They just played Mexico City against Detroit. Anthony Davis wasn't available there. It's been rough sledding for Dallas. Doesn't surprise me that the total might be on the move here because, again, without a couple of big men, Houston is just going to absolutely feast in the paint. So do yourself a favor. Make sure you know they got to have Lively or Anthony Davis or both before you consider the Dallas Mavericks here tonight.
The Smashing Machines, known as the Indiana Hoosiers, number 2, heading on the road to Happy Valley to take on Penn State, who just got smashed by the Ohio State. This line opened up, Joe, around 11.5 is the look ahead. Nope, it's up to 14 and 14.5 across the board, a total of 48.5. 3-5 Penn State, undefeated Indiana, who loves running up the score, and they would love to go to Happy Valley and throw another dagger at those teams. Oh, boy, Indiana. It's a spread line here for you.
Donnie, people do not realize what a difference a couple of years makes. I had to go all the way back, Donnie, to 1993 to find the last time Indiana had been favored over Penn State. 1993. 2 years ago, Donnie, Indiana was a 31-point underdog in this game. 2 years ago. And now they're a 2-touchdown road favorite. You got to be kidding me. And by the way, I mean, Cignetti, his teams are locked in. By the way, Indiana, 2-25 straight up in their last 27 against Penn State. If you don't think Cignetti knows all of these numbers and is going to look to make a statement, you're out of here. It's a new era in Indiana, and Cignetti is going to make sure everybody in Happy Valley understands that.
One of my plays of the day on Saturday on College Football Today, Joe, I'm just taking teams I know that are going to wreck. Like, I thought Penn State was bad. Ohio State's going to make a statement because they want to kick Ohio State or Penn State when they're down. They did that. The Indiana game also. Like, they're just going to drive a hard bargain on the road, at home. It doesn't matter. Like, Cignetti is making a point saying, you want to come play for Indiana? We're going to smash teams. We're going to continue. I can't wait to see how this season plays out. And certainly we'll see coming up this weekend how much devastation they can create in Happy Valley. How about those Miami Hurricanes? Oh, go on the road, self-destruction, lose another as a double-digit favorite. They come home to take on Syracuse, who ended their season last year. The 18th ranked Hurricanes on life support right now. Quite frankly, they're not good enough to get into the college football playoff or do any damage, but they are 28.5-point favorites over Syracuse. Is this a game where they let out all that tension, or, hey, look at that, Syracuse is up 14-10 at the break? What's your spread line here, Joe?
Listen, you cannot. I mean, it was vintage Mario Cristobal in the University of Miami at SMU. Outgaining, outrushing, outplaying. And what does Miami do? Shoots themselves in the foot every time they turn around. The only problem is here, Donnie, is they're taking on a Syracuse team that has a backup quarterback that can't throw the ball. They're not running on the University of Miami. Miami will, I'm not my money, but Miami will likely win this game by 1 million, or at least they should, but they'll also probably shoot themselves in the foot again.
Once again, boy, if the season can end by like October 15th, the Canes would have maybe multiple national championships over the past decade, but it doesn't. It ends in November and December, and Miami usually falters here. Tough scene. Let's get back to what happened in Orchard Park yesterday. Bills, Chiefs, top of the AFC, up for grabs. Let's find out who actually won.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what, like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in a football state, you're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, did you watch the game yesterday in Orchard Park, New York, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs? If you did, you see the Buffalo Bills with a 28-21 victory, which the game did stay under the total. The Buffalo Bills do get the cover, but the big story yesterday was the efficiency of Josh Allen in the pocket. 23 of 26, 273 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. Good for 10.5 yards per passing attempt. James Cook was stellar on the ground yesterday, 27 carries for 114 yards. And also, you take a look at Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, I thought he'd throw multiple touchdown passes. He didn't throw a single touchdown pass yesterday. 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. The biggest superstar yesterday was Josh Allen, but also the defense of the Buffalo Bills came to play, and that was the reason for the victory yesterday, Joe.
And that really was, Donnie. That was the unsung hero of the game. Listen, Josh Allen was absolutely phenomenal in the game, but the amount of hits and helmets that the Buffalo Bills defense put on Patrick Mahomes, he was under duress the entire game. They had absolutely no answer. Guys like Worthy, nowhere to be found, couldn't get the ball to. Rashee Rice, where were you? Not a major factor in this game. They could not run the ball. And Patrick Mahomes had one of the worst quarterback ratings, I think, in his career in that game there. Impressive stuff by Buffalo because of the way they did it offensively, Donnie, and a lot of that was with Cook on the ground. That offensive line manhandled that front of the Kansas City Chiefs. That game really was not close at all. If he kicks that field goal at the end there instead of turning it over, it wouldn't have been a 1-score game. It would have been a 2-score game. But Buffalo clearly has a plan to attack the Kansas City Chiefs and everyone else in the AFC come this postseason.
Yeah, just watching that game as it played out, you just figured like sooner than later Kansas City was going to get it together, and they couldn't do that. And Josh Allen, again, was perfect. Couple tush pushes on the goal line, works out. James Cook running for over 100 yards against a really good Steve Spagnuolo defense. But the focus for me was, all right, if Isaiah Pacheco's out, you can run on the Buffalo Bills. They were down their best 2 defensive tackles heading into this game, but yet you only saw 11 carries out of Kareem Hunt, which he did have success, Joe, of 49 yards, 4.5 yards per carry, and 1 touchdown. The interesting part in this game, too, which let me know a lot, was you saw Kansas City at the end of the first half. You had that big play down to the goal line, which I think it was Hollywood Brown, a 40-yard catch, which he gets down to the 6-inch line. That was interesting because, you got to hurry up to the line. You really can't run the football that much. They handed the football first and called a timeout, which Kareem Hunt didn't get in. Then 2 passing attempts here, which didn't go for anything, which usually Andy Reid is such a great schemer in the red zone of getting guys open on pick plays, but great defense by the Buffalo Bills. Joe, I thought it was interesting that they elected to kick the field goal. Now, I know they were getting the ball in the second half and you wanted to at least get points, but if I'm on the 6-inch yard line, I have Kareem Hunt, I'm running him again, and the chances of him getting in, probably pretty good.
I didn't like the play calling, Donnie, to your point. I thought, why try 2 passes in that sequence there? The first play was a handoff to Hunt. It went absolutely nowhere. But then the next 2 plays, you tried play action and you tried passes that were absolutely destroyed at the line of scrimmage. So I'm with you. I thought you just pound it in. You're from 1 yard out. Just pound it in. Keep giving it to Hunt. See if your guys in the trenches can beat their guys in the trenches. And that was not to be at all. Kudos. Not having their 2 best, like you said, D tackles. No Ed Oliver in that game. No Daquan Jones. And you know what? Didn't matter. They dominated the Kansas City line.
Absolutely did. And again, just interesting performances as we have. But now we take a look at the AFC and take a look first at the AFC winner. The Bills are the favorite at -175. They're technically not even in first place today. It's actually the Patriots at a +140 price that does sit in first place. But the AFC West really is starting to tighten now. You take a look at this. The Chiefs, a +120 favorite to win that division. The Broncos at a +150 price. We always think of Kansas City as one of the best teams in the NFL talent-wise, and they are, Joe. But you are what your record says you are. 5-4 is not the top of the heap. It's just not.
And that's what I think was missed by a lot of folks yesterday. This was a huge game for both these teams because now the Chiefs entering that game, if the playoffs had started yesterday, Donnie, would have been a 7 seed. I mean, they're 3rd in their own division right now. And by the way, Buffalo can ill afford to lose another game on New England here because they don't play them until, I think, week 15. So, yeah, this was a big, big game for the Buffalo Bills yesterday to get it done.
Understand this, too. Coming up on the schedule here for the Kansas City Chiefs, they're at the Broncos here. Then they're playing the Colts. Then they're at the Cowboys. Then it's the Texans, who, if they can hang around here with C.J. Stroud back there, then it's the Chargers. Like, this isn't an easy road. And again, you're not padding your stats for the number 1 overall seed, Joe. You're just looking to maybe win that division and see what you can do, because Patrick Mahomes is used to playing in AFC Championship games. Maybe the road and that path to victory is just a little bit too far. Let's talk World Series. My goodness, we got a gem on Saturday. We got to talk about it.
You see this team, and they're talking about A.J. Brown still. It's an injury. We want him. Are we going to ship him? This situation has to play out in the sense of, I think he wants to be there, but at the end of the day, you can't disrupt the locker room every single week. And the Eagles need him to be there if they're going to make a Super Bowl run.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The playoff matchups for Asher Genty are not great. We start to look ahead. I know it's early, but it's not that early. So Genty, I think, is still a better long-term guy than it is maybe a redraft situation, especially with the schedule maps out. But I don't see a lot of games where he's potentially in a situation where the Raiders are ahead and running the football a ton, if you know what I mean. It's kind of tough out there for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Are they chanting? Is it over? Does
They'll
he
be
accept
gone
the
by
resignation?
halftime. No,
are they chanting fire, Brian
probably.
and Kelly?
Yeah,
Clap, clap,
it would
clap,
be
clap, clap.
would be warranted. It would be. I mean, you won a national championship in 2019. You're getting top 5, top 10 recruiting classes each and every year. You had the quarterback back to back to back to back. How many more chances are you going to get? I mean, really, what are we doing here?
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
One playoff win, and it's been a train wreck in every other year. But if we all agree that he was right in how he handicapped the quarterback talent coming out of that draft, and they got the right guy, and I think we all do agree on that, then what's the benefit of bringing a totally new voice into the room to now be the coach of Jackson Dart?
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
We are going to talk World Series in just a moment, but we are a live show, Joe, and when information hits the wire, we are the early birds, and we get the worm to deliver it to you, Joe. You are located in South Florida. We understand there are major changes happening with the Miami Dolphins. Chris Greer is out. Maybe the quarterback will be out. Maybe the coach is out. But you know, with the trade deadline coming up this weekend, a fire sale could be in place. Sources tell Adam Schefter Miami is trading edge rusher Jalen Phillips to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a 2026 third-round pick. The Dolphins tearing it down.
It doesn't shock me. I mean, it's about time here, and I could make the argument this is a little too late here, but kudos to the Eagles here who continue just to find guys to plug and play here at the craziest time. So kudos. I don't know what's going on, but didn't Vic Fangio, I think Vic Fangio coached him in Miami.
He did.
Right? And he loved him here. Yeah. So this is kind of this is Fangio written all over it and said, you know what, can we please make a play for him? And, well, they got him, so they just got a little bit better, that defense of Philadelphia.
There you go. Coming off a bye next week, maybe for some NFC supremacy, the Packers and the Eagles on Monday Night Football, where the Packers actually are a slight favorite in that game. We'll keep you posted if anything pops off live here as we await the trade deadline, which is this week in the NFL. But let's get back to Saturday night, Joe. You know me. I like to go to bed early, but I said, if you can just give me this one thing, give me a Game 7 on a Saturday, on a day where daylight savings kicks in the next day. I don't have to wake up early. I promise you I'll watch it all the way through. And not even in my wildest dreams did I think I would get that much entertainment out of the series where the Dodgers were pounding and mowing everybody down. let alone get a Game 7 that would end in 11 innings in a 5-4 victory for the Dodgers when they were down 3-0 and 4-2. Home runs in the 8th inning, home run in the 9th inning, which was unbelievable to watch that play out, and then extra innings getting another home run. Yamamoto comes in. He was spectacular in this playoff run. Major League Baseball gave us everything we could ask for and more. What a wonderful World Series, Joe, that went to the Dodgers in 7 games.
And Donnie had everything. I mean, Game 6, 9th inning with the ball sticking, underneath the wall, out in the outfield. And then, of course, the double play, the way it ends there, the effort by both teams, really. I mean, it had everything. It truly was. And maybe we'll go down as one of the greatest of all time. But as far as I can remember, this has just been one of the greatest World Series ever, given the fact that the narratives between these two teams, the haves and maybe the have a little here, because the stars of this series, while there were some big names that played a part, it ultimately came down to Dodger role players that ended up making the big plays at the big moments to get it done. And whatever they paid for Yamamoto, worth every penny, Donnie, every penny.
Rojas with a home run in the top of the 9th inning with 1 out, a guy that doesn't hit for any power, and you just saw those fan base was ready to explode at that point, and that ball was hit, and it was dead silence as you watched that ball sail into the stands, and you knew at that point, like, oh my goodness, what's going to take place next? Now let's hear from Jeff Hoffman, who was on the mound here, a Philadelphia Philly in the past. He let up that home run. He's going to remember this, and for the wrong reasons, the rest of his life.
What are you feeling? Can you try to verbalize what it is that's actually happening for you? I mean, we're all preparing for the celebrations.
Yeah, I mean, I cost everybody in here a World Series ring, so it's pretty just gotta execute better in that spot, and not let that happen.
He was really good for the Jays this year. You just needed 2 more outs, and to be a closer, like, that's what you live for as a closer, right? Give me up in a game number 7 to close out a championship here. 1, 2, 3, and away you go. He wasn't able to get it done and lit that fire under the Dodgers. Were able to come back with that victory 5-4. So many instances during this game, Joe, played out right in front of our eyes. And let's not forget, in the bottom of the 11th inning, a leadoff double by Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who was everything for Toronto, and a game-ending double play with them sitting on third base. Unbelievable theatrics here.
Yeah, it had everything. And by the way, he did not lose it. I mean, the guy didn't give up a home run all series long. I think all postseason long. And that was his problem during the regular season, is that he tended to give up the long ball. And he gives up 1 home run, and it happens to be in that particular spot there. So it was unfortunate, but he's not the reason they lost this series or this game for that matter. But give credit. You got to execute, right? And one guy did, and one guy didn't. And it always seems like every year there's some dude, Will Smith, on a team that ends up winning the World Series, Donnie. I don't know what it is, but there always seems to be here. And kudos. But Hoffman was not the reason they lost.
No, unbelievable. I mean, so many big plays in this series, so many game-changing affairs. And even you get that ball hit to the wall for the Dodgers. Pages collides with Kike Hernandez. He makes the catch. This game had everything here. And even the bases loaded ground ball to second base, which Rojas sort of double pumps, throws to the plate. And by an inch, a fraction of an inch, Will Smith is able to get that spike down on the plate before they slide home. It would have been a victory in the World Series right there. Unbelievable stuff. And as the Dodgers go, that's a superstar team. How about Blake and Glass now? If you can't beat them, join them. That's the way it is.
In this organization, what does it say?
It's unbelievable, but we chased this in 2020. We lost it. And now we on this team.
I know. It's incredible.
Welcome to the
Yeah, you can't beat them. Join them, baby.
They got the cash out there in L.A. to keep paying for, and understand this, people, right? Like, if you think and I'm a Phillies fan, so I actually don't want a salary cap because my team pays a lot of money for superstars, and I don't want to see that messed up. Maybe doing Miami or Pittsburgh or Kansas City. But understand this. The Dodgers just won the World Series with a record payroll. Do you know what the Dodgers organization goes? How can we improve this team with even better players next year, and money won't be a thing? Get ready for the hot stove, which everybody's going to be looking for the Dodgers.
Yeah, those two guys were Tampa Bay Rays starting pitchers, came up with that organization. Like, it's just unbelievable. And they land with the Dodgers because the Dodgers are about winning. And it's not just about spending money. It's about spending money in the right way here and putting together a team. Because ultimately, again, $400 million doesn't guarantee you championships. 24 years, Donnie, only 3 teams have won a World Series that had the highest payroll. How is it that we went 25 years without a repeat champion if money buys you championships? It's a farce. It doesn't happen. What they did have is a whole lot of great role players and guys that stepped up and showed up. That's what makes baseball so great, is that, you can have all the Ohtanis in the world. It's still, how's Soto and the Mets doing? You just spent $700 trillion for a guy you didn't even sniff the playoffs. So, again, it's about guys. It's more than just the big name guys in Major League Baseball, which is what makes it so much fun to be a part of.
Yamamoto, World Series MVP, nothing short of phenomenal all the way through. It's like, you know what, coach or Skip, I got a couple more innings left in me if you need me to go out there. And he does go out there. 2 2/3 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, picks up the victory, and the MVP of the World Series.
Donnie, it's crazy, too, when you think about how all of this unfolded, right? Basically, Dave Roberts said, sorry, bullpen, I'm going with my entire rotation of starters here, and that's what's going to happen because I don't trust any of you down there, which is fine. But I think it's amazing in the day and age in Major League Baseball, Donnie, where they pamper these starting pitchers to the point where, no more than 5 innings at tops. Let's get them out. Can't throw 100 pitches. To what we just witnessed here is absolutely amazing.
By the way, we're looking at the new evolution of the pitcher in Major League Baseball, Joe. We're like, Tampa Bay is like, hey, we're going to have openers here. How about in baseball, you just have 12 starters on your team and throw them whenever you want for how many innings you want at this point? Because apparently it works out. Hey, Yamamoto, we need you for 3 innings on Wednesday. How about another 2 on Sunday here? And Monday, if we need you for 1 inning, we can bring you in. Maybe the Dodgers are paving the way for the new look of these bullpens here. But the Dodgers paving the way as favorites, Joe, plus 350 to win the World Series in 2026.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm not running to the window to tie up
Look at those
plus
Phillies.
350.
Look at those Phillies. Come on, 10-1. Get on board, Joe. 10-1 Phillies. That's your only decision. More decisions with Tom Vecchio. Coming up next, right here on the early line.
You see this team, and they're talking about A.J. Brown still. It's an injury. We want him. Are we going to ship him? This situation has to play out in the sense of, I think he wants to be there, but at the end of the day, you can't disrupt the locker room every single week. And the Eagles need him to be there if they're going to make a Super Bowl run.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The playoff matchups for Asher Genti are not great. We start to look ahead. I know it's early, but it's not that early. So Genti, I think, is still a better long-term guy than is maybe a redraft situation, especially with the schedule maps out. But I don't see a lot of games where he's potentially in a situation where the Raiders are ahead and running the football a ton, if you know what I mean. It's kind of tough out there for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Are they chanting? Is it over? Does
They'll
he accept
be gone
the
by
resignation?
halftime. No,
are they chanting fire?
Probably.
Kelly,
yeah,
clap, clap,
it would
clap,
be. It would be warranted. It would be. I mean, you won a national championship in 2019. You're getting top 5, top 10 recruiting classes each and every year. You had the quarterback back to back to back to back. How many more chances are you going to get? I mean, really, what are we doing here?
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
One playoff win, and it's been a train wreck in every other year. But if we all agree that he was right in how he handicapped the quarterback talent coming out of that draft, and they got the right guy, and I think we all do agree on that, then what's the benefit of bringing a totally new voice into the room to now be the coach of Jackson Dart?
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
By the way, people, just to let you know, there is a college basketball game that will be live at 8 a.m. Eastern coming up in about 15 minutes because college basketball season is here. It's unbelievable with a massive slate of games, which we will sort of get to here in just a little bit. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri. Now we welcome in Tom Vecchio here to bring that heat early on a Monday morning with so many unbelievable things filling out over the weekend. Spills right into a Monday with college basketball, as well as the NBA and hockey and Monday Night Football. It's a good time right now, Tom. We are loaded up, Tommy.
We certainly are. It's a great time to be a sports fan. There's so much going on. We're coming off an exciting weekend across the NFL. I think we're going to be ending with an exciting game tonight. Super high total. Two horrible defenses. Props should be alive the entire time tonight.
Absolutely. And by the way, you did have an unbelievable quarterback performance last night, specifically in the first half. Sam Darnold went nuts. And look, I don't want to just take laps right now, Tom, but when I looked in and said, wait a second, Darnold's going to go cheaper to Seattle than what you're getting for Geno Smith, which you had to trade for and give up compensation for the Raiders. Good luck, Raiders, with that decision that you made here. But that's not the decision we're making tonight, Tom. Arizona and Dallas. Jacoby Brissett's going to get the start. And some people out there might go like, oh, that should be easy, Dallas. You look at the past two games with Jacoby Brissett, that offense is moving the football. Tom, we're lining up with roughly a 3-point line as a favorite towards the Dallas Cowboys and a total of 53.5. How do you play tonight's game on Monday Night Football?
I think points are coming first and foremost. I don't love the number. I don't love laying it with Dallas. There's nothing on their defense that suggests that they can stop anyone. And the same thing can be said about Arizona. I will say that I think Jacoby Brissett is probably among the higher tier of backup quarterbacks. He's beyond competent. So I think we are in for a game. And Dallas can't stop anyone. Jacoby's solid. They have Marv. They have their issues in the running back room. But Marv, Trey McBride, another cast of characters. Dallas is fully healthy. They'll score 30 points, but they may also give up 28 points. So I think we're in for a high-scoring game tonight. I would take the points with the Cardinals if I had to pick because it's at 3. But if it was 2.5, I may take Dallas knowing that they have Brandon Aubrey there.
It's so funny, too, because the entire world seems to be on the Cowboys and this line is not moving. You know, the amount of bets and money that are coming in on the Cowboys and it's stuck at 3. I mean, the Cardinals are coming off a bye. So Brissett wasn't bad the first couple of games. Now he had extra week to prepare here. It feels like if any defense is going to get enough stops to win a game, it's Arizona's defense. Not saying much, but it's Arizona's defense here. So who on this Arizona offense can we trust to light up this Cowboys defense? Or are we going over with everybody? Harrison, McBride, touchdowns. What are we going to do now?
So I think Harrison and McBride, I think they're fully in play tonight. I don't love their numbers. I think their numbers are super refined. If you told me Marv, his number last time I saw was 59. If you told me he ended with 80+, I'm not going to be surprised. However, when it comes to Arizona, my favorite play is actually Jacoby Brissett under on his attempts. If we look back at the games the Cowboys have played thus far, they've allowed 3 quarterbacks to go over this number of 32.5. 2 of those games with Russell Wilson and Jordan Love, those games went to overtime. The only other time that went over was Justin Fields. If you even look back at the Bears loss that the Cowboys had, Caleb Williams and the Bears put up 40-plus points. Caleb Williams only threw the ball 28 times. The defense on the Cowboys is so bad that quarterbacks and opposing offenses don't need to have sustained, comprehensive drives. They can pick up chunk plays, 30, 40 yards. They break off a run, and all of a sudden you're down the field in 5 plays. Like, you don't need to have a sustained drive where you're dinking and dunking. You can break off these chunk plays. So quarterbacks actually don't need high volume of passing attempts to put up a lot of points against the Cowboys. So I actually like Brissett under on his attempts today.
Looking at yesterday's slate in the NFL, Tom, we had some interesting results. And you probably thought the Bears and the Bengals would shoot it out, and they did. And Joe Flacco, hey, I got a bad throwing arm. They threw 47 times for 470 yards and 4 touchdowns, and they lost. And that was a lot of fighting in that locker room. Like, hey, defense, can you make a stop every once in a while? But some of the games that really shocked me, Tom, what, Panthers 16?
Yeah.
Packers 13? Packers struggling to move the football. Rico Dowdle's now an absolute nationwide hero. $130 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Talk to me about the Packers. I didn't see that one coming.
So retrospectively, I kind of knew this coming in, and I didn't put the pieces together in my mind. That was a clear look-ahead spot. It was a sandwich game for the Packers. Emotional game last Sunday night versus the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, this, that, the other thing. Oh, we got this game versus the Panthers. Next week, who do they play, Donnie? Who do they play? They play at Philly they host Philly, on Sunday night.
Yep.
right? And Philly's coming off a bye. So just the rest disadvantage for the Packers is huge. This was a clear look-ahead spot. And I know the Panthers defense got sliced apart last week by Josh Allen, but prior to that, their defense was actually pretty solid. We talked about it. Their run defense, actually, there's some underlying metrics that suggested the Panthers were solid. So this was a clear look-ahead spot. And to see them, the Packers win but not cover, that's what I thought was going to happen. But taking the points with the Panthers, I think, was the right side to be on.
So I know everyone is convinced now because they beat Miami that somehow Baltimore is back, but I can't stress how big a win that was by the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday. Yeah. And if that defense has finally figured it out, then are we selling Pittsburgh short here in the AFC North?
I think so. I will also say I was talking to someone yesterday, and I said I wasn't sold on the Colts. I know the line was in favor. They're putting up all these points. They have a literal historic offense. But the Colts are traveling overseas next week. And I also view this as a little bit of a look-ahead spot where they're like, listen, we're here. We have to go overseas next week. Let's just try and get a win against the Steelers. But the Steelers are also a team that's coming off a terrible loss at home. And if there was any time for them to bounce back with, as the broadcast likes to say, the highest-paid defense in the league that is not performing like that, that was the game for them to show up. So the fact that the Ravens have been booked as the favorite to win the division time and time again is not the right play. I think the Steelers are absolutely live. It comes down to strength of schedule. And I believe those teams play each other in week 18 to close out the season. So that could be the division decider right there.
Like yesterday too, Tom, the defense for Brian Flores bringing the heat against Jared Goff. They kept blitzing and kept crushing him. 5 sacks. And by the way, I think one guy, Did he get 4 sacks yesterday? Was it?
Sounds right.
Yeah, I think, who was it here? Let me see. 2. That doesn't look like that. But anyway, crushing the pocket yesterday. What are the expectations for Detroit? They didn't look so good yesterday. Where's Jahmyr Gibbs at? Come on.
I would say this is just a bump in the road. I think the offense is still there. I think they're good enough. The defense is more of an issue for me with all the injuries that they have in the secondary. Fixing that will help out the offense that they don't need to be relied upon the whole time. I think the offense will bounce back. I think they're fine.
Monday Night Football coming up tonight. College basketball today. So much stuff going on, Tom. Thank you for joining us today on the early line. We'll talk to you again shortly. But let's talk about some Saturday college football. What the heck's going on?
There's a far longer track record of the Chiefs laying huge numbers and not covering them with Mahomes than anything on the contrary.
And they did that a lot last year where they didn't cover those numbers. But a lot of the time last year, they didn't have Rice and they weren't fully healthy. And now they are fully healthy. And now we have an offense that has 4 viable receivers, 2 tight ends, and 2 running backs.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They didn't panic. They played like a championship team. They came back and destroyed them, probably cost Brian Kelly his job at least a week earlier than it might have happened before. But the fact is they are playing great. But like I say, I like the talent level of all those teams. And I think if you want to have a little bang for your buck and play around with a team that could slide in, Ole Miss might be that team.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Wild college football Saturday, and we're going to start in the state of Texas. The Vanderbilt Commodores, man, week after week after week, close lines, big game performances at home, and winning football games. They came in at 7-1 in this game in the top 10 to take on a top 20 Texas Longhorns team. The question mark, Joe, was, were we going to get Arch Manning at quarterback? Like, no, he got a concussion the week before. There's no way he's going to get cleared. Cleared late Friday night, played Saturday, and he was spectacular. What if I would have told you, Joe, both of these quarterbacks, Pavia, 27 for 38, or 27 of 38 for 365 and 3 scores. Arch Manning, 25 of 33 for 328 and 3 touchdowns. If you had Texas at 3 or 3.5, at least a 3 got your money back. I have no idea how they blew that cover, but still won that football game.
Yeah, it was a lot of empty netters there the end, and they just stopped. They just stopped playing there. But I mean, it was really good showing for Arch Manning. It was very good for Sarkisian. Texas now is. Their goal is intact, right? Make the college football postseason and get it going. It was one of the worst bad beats of the weekend if you did have Texas to cover that game. But Vandy, we shouldn't have been surprised with Clark Lee and Pavia. They've done this now for a couple of years where you got to finish them. Otherwise, they will keep coming back late in games, and that's exactly what they did.
Joey Aguilar threw for 393 yards and 3 touchdowns and still lost to Oklahoma 33-27. Material had $159 in the air and no touchdowns passing, but the ground game was dominant. 192 yards on the ground for Oklahoma. They pick up the victory over Rocky Top, essentially ending the season for Tennessee. Oklahoma still has life.
Yeah, the Oklahoma MVP was their kicker, Tate Sandell, who was basically the guy that saved them in this game here. But I'll tell you this, Tennessee, you can't turn the ball over as many times as you turn the ball over at home and think that you're going to beat anybody, including OU. This was another game like Miami where they did everything to shoot themselves in the foot early in this game and give OU the opportunity to walk away with the win.
Now, I see somebody on SMU's name is Jordan Hudson at wide receiver. Any relation to Jordan Hudson over there on Chapel Bill? Maybe not, but 365 yards passing here for Kevin Jennings and 1 touchdown. By the way, Miami's defense held the rushing attack to SMU to 23 yards, 0.9 yards per carry. But in the end, SMU beat Miami. And I don't think too many people were even surprised at this point.
You can't be. I mean, it's Cristobal in Miami and all the talent in the world. And they figure out ways to shoot themselves in the foot here, Donnie. They've had 4 losses over the last couple of seasons, and in every one of them, they were double-digit favorites. They can't get it done. If they play a clean game, they win by 30. If they do what they did, they end up losing in overtime like they did there. Kudos to Carson Beck with another interception with the game on the line.
What a brutal one, too. Looked like I don't even know who the wide receiver was on that. It looked like the SMU kid was the wide receiver in overtime. Mm-hmm. And then they don't even have any heart to say, okay, we'll hold you to a field goal. Quick punch in, 1-yard touchdown run, and away Miami goes with that loss. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party. We had a game in this one. We told you all last week, interesting that line is staying at 7, not really moving. Georgia 24, Florida 20. But I got to tell you, if you were on Georgia, and you watch that play finish, where Stockton rolled out to the left, waltzes in for a touchdown and decides to take a knee, which is the right move. But my goodness, a total and a side up for grabs, and Stockton, millions of dollars could have changed hands had he walked across that goal line.
Yeah, interesting. That wasn't the only game like that, too, by the way. But listen, they weren't the right side to begin. I mean, they should have. That line was too much here. I mean, Florida played really well. They played inspired. And the offense, I don't know what took so long. Maybe Napier was the problem, but they were going up tempo. They cut the playbook. They got ball into the hands of their playmakers. This kid Wilson, as a freshman, is going to be an absolute monster in the SEC. So, yeah, I think Florida still has plenty enough talent to be able to cover games for the rest of the way.
Julian Sain was clean on Saturday, Joe. 20 of 23, 316, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And in a game that got real close in the second quarter, was not close in the second half. 21 unanswered points in the second half by the Buckeyes, 38-14. The Penn State Nittany Lions 0-5 in the Big Ten. Ouch.
I saw a stat there during this game, Donnie. Ohio State's defense has only given up 55 total points in 10 weeks of football. 55 points. That is dominating.
I asked Joe on Saturday, Joe Lease, I go, let's just say 16 and a half. He goes, no, they're not going to get there. They got the 14 in the first half. Hey, competitive game. Not so fast, Penn State. And Penn State might get wrecked this week again. 0-6 in the Big Ten. Out. Hour number 2 coming up next. Come on back with us.